12 ounces. A good truck's got maybe 300,000. You only get so much until it's gone. Duracells and a mag light, a needle drop on a 45 are the kind of things that only last so long. When the new wears off and they get to getting old, sooner or later time's gonna take its toll. They say nothing lasts forever, but they ain't seen us together, or the way the moonlight dances in your eyes. Just a t-shirt in the kitchen with no makeup and a million other things that I could look at my whole life. A love like that makes a man have second thoughts. Maybe some things last forever after all. The FM station on the outskirts, blue jeans after years of shift work, all fading out like I always knew they would. The strings on this guitar, the first love lost on a young heart, those things are gonna break after the getting's good. Cause the new wears off and they get to getting old. But yeah, sooner or later time's gonna take its toll. They say nothing lasts forever, but they ain't seen us together, or the way the moonlight dances in your eyes. Just a t-shirt in the kitchen
Right, you two, it is your wedding day. You're allowed to hold hands. Just no kissing till I say so, big man, okay? Good afternoon, family and friends, and welcome to the wedding of Paul and Lindsay. I'm sure you will all agree, despite it being Friday the 13th today, and some unpredictable weather. What a beautiful day we're going to have today, filled with nothing but love for this beautiful couple. So Paul and Lindsay would like to thank all of you for coming here today. And I know that some of you have travelled quite a wee bit just to be here. We have people from all the way over in Australia, or even just along the road in Glasgow, regardless of how near or far you've come. I'm pleased to welcome you all in celebrating today's wedding here on the bonny banks of Loch Lomond. So my name's Paul, and I'm a humanist marriage officer, or as this Paul referred to me, the guy who's doing it. He's hopeless, isn't he? He's rubbish. Either way, Paul, I'm delighted to be conducting your wedding ceremony today. So as I mentioned, today's ceremony is humanist in content. And for those of you unfamiliar with that philosophy, it is simply one of unity, respect, freedom of choice, and celebrating the love that two people have for one another. However, this type of ceremony has also enabled today's happy couple to express some of their own feelings about one another in a way that is extremely personal to them. Today, this bride and groom embark on a brand new chapter in their lives. And it was clear to me when I met you guys for the very first time that you two have been in love since the very first moment that you laid eyes on one another. Or have they? Because it took someone about 10 years to ask this lassie out on a date. But we'll come on to that in a wee second. Essentially, when I asked them what they were looking forward to today the most, of course they're looking forward to taking their vows to one another. But for these two, nothing means more to them than sharing in this day with all of you here. Of course, this day is a day to have fun, to celebrate with friends and family. And Lindsay, if you were wondering what the big cheer was all about, these people cannot wait to get the party started.
Oh, amen.
So, before we get the party started, a few special mentions. Firstly, to our beautiful bridesmaids. You've done a great job making sure Lindsay arrived on time today. Yeah? Whose fault was it? Oh, okay. Was the Lindsay's? That's good. That's what we like to hear. And of course, not forgetting our fabulously fantastic flower girls. We have Ava, Charlotte, Maisie, and of course, not forgetting the star of the show, Ella. Yes, we get to give Mummy...
There's stuff in her face.
She's not interested in what's happening. You're just interested in that food. Good girl. We get to give your mummy the same name as you and Daddy today. But can I just say, it's meant to be these two who are the stars of the show. I'm sure you got some fantastic photos for your Instagram there, Ella. And on the subject of cute wee tiny people, that brings us on to our groom's party. You all look absolutely fantastic. You've kept him nice and calm whilst he's waiting. Doesn't he scrub up well in his kilt? It looks fantastic. Did you know though, Paul, the wearing of a kilt in a modern wedding is symbolic of you no longer wearing the trousers in the relationship?
That day's long past.
Yeah. I said the same to your dad and he agreed as well. Long gone, Brian. And Brian, as we mentioned before, if you could keep your knees together throughout the ceremony. I'm not sure if the other groomsmen can tell, but I can certainly see that Paul's mum is a lucky woman. And of course, in all seriousness, the biggest thank you goes to these people sitting in the front row, the family members of this happy couple, and in particular, their parents. You guys have been a huge support to these two throughout all of their lives, and in particular, on this journey called love. It's so important to this happy couple that they make their commitments in front of all of you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably don't even realise it, but by simply being here, each and every single one of you are playing such a special part in this couple's love story. So as we talk about love and the togetherness of family, now would seem like an amazing time to invite Sister Claire forward to share with us a wee reading which is absolutely perfect, summing up what love means for this couple.
Thank you. It's called Love in Bloom.
Something made her laugh.
Like an unexpected autumn bloom, slow to reach the light, they took their time to place their roots to make sure things were right. They were They were friends at first, nothing more. They shared in tears and laughter. Oh my God, sorry. Then a telling look and long embrace, their feelings grew thereafter. Their love now blooms in vivid colour, clear for all to see. A romance grown from friendship, two lovers meant to be. Sorry.
Thank you. Well done, Claire. That was absolutely fantastic. And of course, an emotional day filled with love, and that poem really sums up your journey together. Two lovers who took a wee while to get to this point, and of course, it was always meant to be. So before we send them off on that next chapter of their love story called marriage, it's only fair that we have that quick recap that Claire talked about there of how these two met, how they fell in love, and how they got to this very spot today. So Paul was like a modern day Prince Charming. He searched through all of the land for his Cinderella. Well, more accurately, you searched through a local pub, didn't you? And boy, was he in luck. Now, I'm sure many a love story, Paul, has started in the romantic surroundings of the Osprey and Newton Mearns. But love didn't quite blossom for you two on this fateful night. It was thanks to one of your mutual friends, Nikki, that this couple would first be introduced to one another. Now, the second that Paul laid eyes on Lindsay, he knew instantly that this was the girl of his dreams. Now, they did admit their memories of this first encounter together are a wee bit hazy. So what did Paul decide to do on this night? Did he make his move on this girl? Well, the drinks were flowing, the conversation was flowing, they clicked instantly. In fact, they told me it was like they'd known one another their whole lives. So as the end of the night arrived, having gotten on so well, Lindsay perhaps hoped that Paul would make a move. She leaned in, she puckered her lips, and she waited, and nothing came. Paul hadn't picked up on any of the signals. So off he went on his merry way, waving her goodbye. And Lindsay hoped maybe one day she would see this man again. Of course, as we know, this couple would, of course, get to know one another better. However, it was through their jobs that a friendship would first blossom between these two. Now, working as a rep, Lindsay would, of course, visit the Boots store that Paul worked in from time to time. He was a store manager on the Crow Road branch, and he would look forward to Lindsay's regular visits. In fact, Lindsay would use any excuse possible to go and visit this man's store. She was popping in so frequently that rumour has it she even had 243,000 Advantage card points from buying a wee something every time she was in. And it sounded like the only work that was getting done was Lindsay working hard trying to get this man's number. This boy just would not pick up on the hints. However, after successfully securing this boy's phone number, obviously for work reasons, they would message back and forth each and every single day. It took for Lindsay to take matters into her own hands, and she straight up asked this boy, "Would you like to go out for some ice cream?" So Paul texts back and asks, "Who else is coming?" And when he realised it was just the two of them, the penny finally dropped for Paul. Well, being the absolute gentleman that he is, he offered to go and pick up this girl, and off they headed to Loop and Scoop in town. As they arrived at the ice cream parlour that day, it became quite apparent that Paul wasn't even a fan of ice cream. He didn't want anything, which made Lindsay smile even more, as he'd only come on this date clearly to spend time with you. So as he sat there...
Churros.
You got some churros. You had to get something. So as he sat there in his sexy wee silver Ford Focus that day, their feelings for one another were abundantly clear to see. And there was something about the way that Paul was eating those churros and Lindsay was making short work of her ice cream cone that these two couldn't resist one another. What unfolded, ladies and gentlemen, was like something straight off of the Discovery Channel. The male of the species locked eyes on the female as she licked that ice cream cone, and Paul was simply spellbound by what he saw. So he suggested they go back to his place. However, Romance would take a wee while to blossom for these two, but of course it soon did. And it was here in the Ford Focus where this couple would share their very first kiss. These two were now falling head over heels for one another. It wasn't long before they made things official, with Paul being first to say those 3 little words. So within seconds of Paul saying the L word, Lindsay's Facebook status was updated to in a relationship. And the rest, as they say, is history for these two. Now you two were officially boyfriend and girlfriend, but of course you were so much more than that. You soon became best friends too. And of course they would take every opportunity to see one another. Lindsay stayed over at Paul's place regularly. Soon the wee overnight bag became a drawer full of clothes. And one day Paul gave her a loan of a key, which he's never ever gotten back to this day. So it was on Lindsay's 30th birthday, Paul officially asked if she would like to move in, and they would start a brand new chapter, living together as a couple. In fact, since moving in together, they tell me they're like an old married couple already. One is good at getting up early with the baby, the other one sleeps like a baby. One is always on time, the other one fashionably late. One likes to do most of the cooking, the other one's maybe better at doing the dishes. One is neat, clean and tidy, and the other is Lindsay. And living together as a couple, you two have had some memorable moments, from cuddling up in Crete to snuggling on the sofa here in Scotland. However, of course, your biggest adventure of all was when welcoming your new addition to the family, with your beautiful baby Ella joining the household. And who knows, Lindsay and Paul, there may be even more additions to the family in the years to come. What is certain, ladies and gentlemen, these two clearly already have the perfect family, and they love spending their lives together. You two have worked together, you've travelled together, you've survived a pandemic together, you've started a family together, as this is your favourite place to be, together. And every adventure you two have had has been spent collecting everlasting memories, but none perhaps more so than the day that Paul proposed. You see, this man knew, really, from the very beginning, that Lindsay was the one. So he'd been planning to propose for quite some time. He secretly started to put his plan into place. I say secretly planned, but as we know from their first encounters, Paul isn't great at picking up on hints, and Lindsay had spent the past few years dragging Paul past every jewellery store window when they were out shopping, taking the shortcut through Argyle Arcade, I'm sure. But the not-so-subtle hints didn't land on Paul. So when it came to choosing the ring, with it being in the midst of the pandemic, not being able to see any rings in person, Paul had to enlist the help of friend Kim to ensure he got the perfect one. After doing his homework, he settled on one ring in particular, and finding out there was only one size left, it just so happened to be the size of Lindsay's ring finger. It was fate. It was meant to be. So with the treasure safely smuggled at his mum's house, all Paul had to do now was choose the perfect place to pop the question. Now, you two have visited some amazing locations, beautiful places in the world. Would it be somewhere exotic, perhaps, Paul? Maybe in one of Scotland's most scenic locations. So out of all of the beautiful places in the world, where did you propose?
That is close.
In the living room. So Paul thought about proposing somewhere abroad, of course, but with no end to the pandemic in sight. You coming up?
Coming up, Ella?
Yeah, bring it up.
Don't worry, I've got boxers on. No.
Pixelate that.
Okay.
Lovely. Mummy's girl. So Paul thought about proposing somewhere abroad. However, there was no end to the pandemic in sight. The ring was weighing down heavily on him, and he simply couldn't wait any longer. So he decided to pop the question, as we heard right there at home. Valentine's Day was approaching, perhaps too obvious. He was thinking if Lindsay were to get suspicious, the very earliest opportunity she would expect this man to propose would, of course, be on Valentine's Day. So he decided to propose a week earlier. This was simply perfect. It was the perfect opportunity to catch Lindsay by surprise. It was always going to be difficult to organise anything in the house. Of course, as we know, Lindsay, or as Paul likes to call her, Detective Helen, nothing gets past her in the house. So he went with the story he was working on Valentine's Day, so they were going to have a special night in early in the week. So after deciding what he was making for dinner, he'd hidden some bottles of champagne that he bought especially for the proposal in the shed. Again, Lindsay's very fond of a wee glass of bubbly or a bottle of bubbly or a few bottles of bubbly. It's her favourite thing to consume. So these wouldn't have lasted long in the house, so he had to stash them in the shed. Now, Paul put his plan in place. He went and asked Lindsay's mum if he could marry her. The cat was now out of the bag. Time was of the essence, so Paul put his plan into place. And as the day arrived, Paul mentioned that he was, I can't say this in front of the kids, Paul, you were very nervous, shall we say. However, despite the nerves, he was pooping himself. He had everything organised. There was a 3-course meal, there was red wine, there was champagne, there was steaks, flowers, a lot, you name it. It went to an extra special effort. He even printed out a wee menu. Don't know why, Paul, there was only one thing that you were cooking that night. However, it was a nice wee touch. It looked the part. So Lindsay was upstairs. She was dolling herself up for Valentine's dinner. She came downstairs and was very surprised at what she'd seen, the amount of effort that this boy went to just for a Valentine's dinner. But still, she didn't get suspicious because he is an old romantic at heart. So as they sat down to eat, Luke Combs was playing in the background. Scotland versus England rugby match was on the TV. So Paul had to patiently wait until the Calcutta Cup was finished before he could even spring into action. And of course, once the game was finished, he waited for Lindsay to stand up before he could pounce into position. Now, anyone who knows Lindsay well will know that she drinks about 2 million litres of water a day, so she's always up and down to do a pee, so he thought he wouldn't have to wait long. However, of course, it was sod's law for Paul. She wasn't budging, she didn't move an inch, and Paul needed her to be standing up so that he could kneel down to propose. So, noticing that he'd forgotten to light any candles for the romantic occasion, he got up, he went through to the kitchen and saying he was looking for some candles, and he shouted through, "The candles are in the TV unit, can you check for them?" Thinking this is the only way he would get this girl to stand up. So finally, Lindsay did stand up. She got up from her seat, she walked towards the TV unit, and just then, Paul grabbed the ring which he'd hidden in position. He swooped on down on one knee, and of course the romance was palpable. The scene was set, and this man was now ready to ask his question. And of course, as everything went quiet, Lindsay turned round to see what Paul was up to. And it was then that all suddenly became clear. As she saw the man of her dreams down on one knee with that ring in his hand. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the answer was always going to be yes. And of course, being the romantic man that he is, Paul even done a second proposal over a year later, whilst they were over in Crete in a private sunset cruise with just these two, Ella and the family with them. This is what Paul had originally envisaged for his proposal. So 2 proposals were no sweat to this guy. So just as the sun was disappearing on the horizon, it dipped into the water, the sea glistening in front of him. The views were brilliantly breathtaking. And Paul once again decided to get down on one knee. Paul should already said yes. But of course, the second time, it was an even bigger yes. And so that brings us to this very moment today. For this couple, marriage means so much more than just sharing the same surname with Ella. It means sharing in the challenges that life will face you with. It's never been too old to hold hands. It's standing together and facing the world. And it's remembering to say, I love you every single day. So I secretly asked these two to share with me just a couple of reasons that they truly, madly, deeply love one another. Maybe that they don't tell one another enough. And here's what they shared. So Lindsay said, save that for a minute. Lindsay said, I love everything about Paul. However, if I could sum it up to just a few things, I love how he always knows how to make me laugh. Whoop. No matter what mood Lindsay's in, Paul always manages to make this girl smile each and every single day. She loves that he is the most amazing dad. She didn't think that she could love him any more until this little beauty arrived. And of course, watching the two of them together is one of her favourite things in the whole world. But of course, the thing that Lindsay loves most about Paul is Paul always knows the way to Lindsay's heart. And of course, that is Prosecco. He's always there with a bottle in hand to cheer this girl up whenever she needs it. And what did Paul say? Well, again, I love everything about Lindsay, but I love mostly Lindsay's relentless loyalty to all of her friends and family. The people who are closest to her, she will defend them, she will support them no matter what. I love that even though we might bicker sometimes, she always makes light of it and laughs at me. We both wonder why we were bickering in the first place. She never takes herself too seriously. But the thing that I love most about Lindsay is she is the most amazing mum to our daughter. Nothing stands in the way when it comes to her and Ella. And I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life calling Lindsay my wife. It's so romantic, isn't it?
I can
So
turn
yes, you too. This is the person that you've chosen to grow old with, to stand by your side with, and to spend the rest of your life with. So before we commit them to spending the rest of their lives together, and I'm pretty sure both of you are going to say I do. However, we're going to make sure you settle any nerves with a nice stiff drink. Of course, these two first met in the Osprey pub in Newton Mearn, so it's completely apt that they would do a drinking from the quaich today. However, neither being fans of whiskey, they are instead going to share a Prosecco. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you to hold on to the quaich. And Lindsay, I'm going to ask you to hold on to the Prosecco. Don't drink it all just yet. And just keep it away from that dress if you'd like to pour the Prosecco into the quaich for me, please. So if you're unfamiliar with the quaich, ladies and gentlemen, it's a small pewter cup. Always has two handles, symbolising both partners entering into marriage. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you first to take a sip from the quaich. Leave some for Lindsay. And as you share from the quaich today, Paul, you promise to share all that your life may bring together. And as you pass the quaich to Lindsay, Lindsay, may life be all the sweeter now that you've drank from the quaich today. So, Lindsay, if you would now like to take it. Oh, you've done it.
I've done it.
So, Lindsay, if you'd like to take a sip from the quaich. And as they say in Scotland, down it. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Zanzibar! Okay, can we have our handsome ring bearer come forward with the rings, as we've now come to the part where these two will take their vows to one another. If you present the rings to the couple, please.
Lindsay, give Lindsay's.
So you take that ring. You take that ring. That's the one. Thank you very much. And Lindsay, you're going to be first. If you could take Paul's left hand in yours, hover the ring over his ring finger, look into his eyes, and repeat after me.
No going back now.
In the presence of our family and friends,
In the presence of our family and friends,
I, Lindsay Hillen,
I, Lindsay Hillen,
accept you, Paul Donnelly,
accept you, Paul Donnelly,
in marriage as my lawfully wedded husband,
in marriage as my lawfully wedded husband,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
in good times and in bad.
in good times and in bad.
I will love and cherish you for the rest of my life.
I will love and cherish you for the rest of my life.
Place the ring on Paul's finger. Oh, don't cry now.
Okay, she's fine.
She's fine, she's fine. It's okay, take your time. Look into Lindsay's eyes, not mine's, Paul, thank you. And repeat after me, in the presence of our family and friends.
In the presence of our family and friends,
I, Paul Donnelly,
I, Paul Donnelly,
accept you, Lindsay Hillen,
accept you, Lindsay Hillen,
in marriage as my lawfully wedded wife,
in marriage as my lawfully wedded wife,
in sickness and in
in
health,
sickness and in health,
in good times and in bad.
in good times and bad.
I will love and cherish you for the rest of my life.
I will love and cherish you for the rest of my life.
It's the ring on Lindsay's finger. Paul and Lindsay, you've chosen to pledge your love, respect, and commitment to one another. You have made a promise to stand by the other throughout your entire lives. So now I have the most pleasant duty of officially announcing you, Paul and Lindsay, husband and wife. Do we now kiss the bride?
What are we doing now?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now make it super duper official by signing the legal paperwork. So if everyone else can stay seated, listen to some music, and we'll be back with you in 2 minutes' time to get the party started.
You on that side?
Yeah.
No. Yay!
Round of applause for Ella. Woo! I think you've got a future superstar in your hands there. She loves the attention.
Loves the
She loves
camera,
limelight
loves the
there.
camera.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be glad to know there's not much more for me to say. Once the happy couple have made their way back up the aisle, they ask for everyone to join them for a group shot outside whilst we have some sunshine, and then we can get the party started. So free drinks downstairs in the buckets and on the table, yeah?
Yep.
Ready to go. Fantastic. So for this final part, can you please be upstanding if you're able? Get ready to raise the roof with as much clapping, whooping, cheering, because the final thing for me to say, I would proudly like to present for the very first time the new Mr. and Mrs. Donnelly!
You know I'd fall apart without you. I don't know how you do what you do. 'Cause everything that don't make sense about me makes sense when I'm with you. Like everything that's green, girl, I need you. But it's more than one and one makes two. Put aside the math and the logic of it. You gotta know you want it too. 'Cause I wanna wrap you up, wanna kiss your lips. I wanna make you feel wanted. And I wanna call you mine, wanna hold your hand forever and never let you forget it. Yeah, I wanna make you feel wanted. Anyone can tell you you're pretty, and you get that all the time. I know you do, but your beauty's deeper than the makeup. And I wanna show you what I see tonight when I wrap you up, when I kiss your lips. I wanna make you feel wanted, and I wanna call you mine, wanna hold your hand forever, never let you forget it. 'Cause baby, I wanna make you feel wanted, as good as you make me feel. I wanna make you feel better, better than your fairy tales, better than your best dreams. You're more than everything I need. You're all I ever wanted, and all I ever wanted. And I just wanna wrap you up, wanna kiss your lips. I wanna make you feel wanted, and I wanna call you mine, wanna hold your hand forever and never let you forget it. Yeah, I wanna make you feel wanted, and baby, I wanna make you feel wanted. 'Cause you'll always be wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me make as much noise as possible swear very loud, but I'm sure you can be a lot louder than that. So ladies and gentlemen, please help welcome into the room for the first time, the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Donnelly! Ladies and gentlemen, as you can now see, your bride and groom are taking centre to do their formal cake cutting. Now, if I can get some help with everyone in the room tonight, we'll start with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! Give it a kiss, guys, give it a kiss!
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family and loved ones, please join me in this special Irish toast. I think we can all agree that our bride and groom today look absolutely stunning, am I right? Yay! That was terrible. I said, am I right? Yay! Just like to say it's been an absolute privilege to play these games. I wish you both a long, healthy marriage, but most importantly, a happy one. Sandra! Ladies and gentlemen, before we do start with meal service tonight, there is some more formalities we must get out of the way with. Is all ready to start with some speeches? Ladies and gentlemen, first off your speeches, it's the brother of the bride. Please welcome Nick. It's about time, I have to say, after all the applause she's got today, but yes. So, whenever you telling friends that my sister's getting married, first thing they always say is, "Oh, what's the tartan?" I said, "Well, she's the bride, so she'll be in white." The rest of my speech was going to be very much in that vein, but actually what I want to do today is talk about how proud I am to be Lindsay's brother. 5.5 years age gap, so I think when we're young, it's fairly... 5.5. It's not. It's not. It's 5.5. This is, yeah, I know. Well, that very much is an example of what I was going to say was, when we were younger, we didn't always get on, it's safe to say. And that sort of bickering used to drive Mum mad and still does to this day. We never quite were at school at the same time, obviously quite a big age gap, we never did a lot of shared things and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we weren't probably that friendly, it's probably safe to say. We obviously loved each other, brother and sister, of course we did. We didn't really know each other that well. And I went to London for 5 years and came back to this completely different person. Diligent, hard-working, someone who was up at the crack of dawn to do shifts in Asda, which, if you know how much Lindsay likes to party, is a shock to us all, I'm sure. Or working late, and to the extent where, like, you know, she was highly valued, and people were telling her all the time how she could do more and how good she was, and frankly took advantage of how hard she worked, which was always her fault. You never overperform everyone, you just do your job. Which then happened was, she then applied to work for the company I used to work for, so she used to work there called McCurroch. Now, she didn't tell me she was applying, which was really annoying because it cost me £250 refer a friend bonus. I know. You still owe me that. I got phone calls from people and say, just your sister, she applied, what's she like? Now, I'm always going to say, well, what am I going to say? She's my sister. No, she's terrible. Don't employ her. She's absolutely rubbish. But what I said was, look, she works hard. She works harder than me. You'll be surprised. And within a few weeks, her boss phoned me and said, she's always up first. She's always in store before me. She always leaves on time. She always works extra time, takes extra time on there. And not only has she impressed him in that way, she impressed me enough, she was also all over their marketing to the extent where I couldn't go around the head office without a photo of her on the wall, lovingly staring at packets of crisps, which again, is very much what Lindsay likes to do anyway.
Yeah, and they're taking them down now, so...
But all of that was proud, you know, and it did get to a point where she wasn't my sister, I was her brother. Needless to say, I left in order to avoid that sort of thing. And to see her now, not just with that, but as Paul had said earlier during the ceremony, it's not just how hard she worked at work, it's how hard she works for her friends and her family, always putting herself out there. I mean, there was about 3 years where there wasn't a weekend where she wasn't on a hen party, organising a hen party, organising something for a hen party, or going to a wedding and that sort of thing. And I think that only happens so often to someone because people trust them and love them and rely on them. And then we come to Paul. So, Lindsay hid Paul from us for a while. Don't know why. I soon found out it's because we didn't have to listen to him and Mum talk about F1 endlessly, which is now what happens. But the first time I did meet him was at a pub quiz. Now, if you know Lindsay and you know me, we're a bit competitive. And Lindsay had said that they'd won this friends pub quiz a few weeks before. It's all right, that's fine. So I went along with my friends as well to that. Didn't expect anything. Turned out we had a ringer on our team who was really, really good at friends quizzes. So it was neck and neck, and it did turn into a bit of a competitive match where I was shouting abuse across the pub at them and that sort of thing. And it came down to maybe the last round or towards the last round. Now, if you know Lindsay, this is very on point because she doesn't just swear like a sailor. She swears like a sailor in a swearing competition. And there was a question that came out and when we had the right answer, and all you heard was, Paul! Fuck! Paul pushed the wrong answer. And she's never let him forget that.
No.
But it must be love, because if she can forgive him for that, she can forgive him for anything. And seeing the two of them today and throughout the last few years, and then seeing them obviously with the delightful Ella as well, and how great they are as a couple, it makes me even prouder of the women that my sister's become. And I was speechless when I was asked to do this because it meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to me. I just want to say I love you, Lindsay.
Thanks, aye. Done really well.
Now, I will pass across to... Oh, careful. Hey, let's not end it like that. And now I'll hand across to Paul for his speech. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nick, for those kind words. I'll just get my pre-prepared speech that I wrote about 10 minutes ago. So, thank you, Nick. Thank you for those kind words. And I was nearly greeting, so if I can make it through this one without greeting them, we're doing well. Firstly, I just want to take a moment to say how incredible... how incredible Lindsay looks today. So as Darren, our photographer, kind of pointed out, I really am punching above my weight. She knows that, I know that, and everybody else knows that. So on that note, I just want to say on behalf of my new wife and I, we just want to thank you all for coming, you know, for your time, for your generosity. It's really great to have everyone all together in the one place just to celebrate this special day with us. So I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge those who can't be here. To help us celebrate today. So they're all missed very, very much. We all know who they are. But if you could join me, please, first of all, for our first toast, raising our glass to absent friends and family. Absent friends and family. There's quite a few well-deserved thank yous to go around, and I suppose that I've been told that's my job, so that's what my speech will be. So it'll be fairly simple. Suzanne's probably thinking you sound exactly like you do in a conference call, which is... yeah, a lot to get through. I'll be quick, I'll be swift, but it would be amiss if I didn't thank Lindsay, for one, agreeing to marry me in the first place. Although I've got no idea why she would have said no, so... And secondly, for giving me the most gorgeous, right on cue, Ella, smart and loving little girl, our daughter, Ella. Ella, 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 Ella. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses to Lindsay. To the bridesmaids, you all look absolutely amazing today. I haven't seen anything until today. I didn't know what was happening until today. But no, thank you for all the help and support you've given Lindsay, not just over the last couple of years with the wedding and stuff, but just in life in general. So I know things are tough at times, but you're all there for each other. So thank you for being there for Lindsay. And two great hen do's as well, Ibiza. I was really quite jealous that I wasn't there with you. But yeah, so she had the best time with all of you. You know, you had so much fun, and I know that she appreciates everything that you do for her. So thank you. You really did give her the celebrations that she deserved. I just want to say a special thank you to Rachel for making her invites. Everyone will have seen the invites. They're absolutely amazing. And to Laura for making our stunning wedding cake. Table plans, all the various bits and bobs. It's been absolutely amazing. It takes such a weight off as well. So thank you very much for that. So again, please raise your glasses, everyone, to the bridesmaids. And I suppose that brings me on to this guy over here, this guy in the end, Mark, my brother, my best man, Mark with a C, by the way. So she nearly tipped right over there. So thanks not only for the support you give to me, but the support that you give to Lindsay. You are a devoted uncle, brother, and a friend to Lindsay. You delivered on the stag do's, so Budapest was amazing. I think when you pray for the plane to go down on the way home, just so you don't have to deal with a hangover, that says pretty much all I have to say on that one. And I think on that note, it brings me on nicely to the groomsmen. So thank you, groomsmen, for doing absolutely nothing. They turned up. So.
Well in, boys.
But no, on a serious note, thank you. Thank you for the support you've given us today. Make sure everyone's in the right place sometimes. And as well as coming to all the stag do's, I mean, I know, some people went to one, but it was good to have everyone again. I know how difficult it is to find the time and the money to do stuff like this, so I really do appreciate it, and hoping for a Budapest 2.0 if we're all allowed. So, Buddha. Daniel, leave my Daniel, that was you. And lastly, but no means least, our parents. So, Mum, Dad, Hazel, where do I start? Oh. So, things would be a lot tougher without all of you. And I think that, I don't need to rhyme off everything that you do. So, all I want to say is thank you for what you do for us and for Ella. Ella adores you. You're devoted parents, devoted grandparents, and we're very, very lucky to have all of you. We got flowers, yes. Mark, can you? Fuck's sake. We've got a couple of things here for you. For it's a small token. We can never repay you for everything that you do to us. So thank you very much for everything that you do. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I pass on to Mark for the headline act. Please can everyone raise your glasses to Susan, Brian, Hazel, the parents. And now I'll pass on to my best man, Mark, with a seat.
Hello everybody. Can I just say, Paul never said I had to get up and give flowers there. That was the first time I've heard it.
Wait till he unlocks his phone.
To be fair, I'm on 13% of my phone, so it could be a bit dodgy. And also the Ring doorbell's going tonto at me. So first of all, Darren, I need a new profile picture for Instagram, so see if you can get any good candid ones, that'd be brilliant. So, good afternoon everybody. First of all, Nick Killing coming up and just saying a speech with no notes. What's all that about? You've shown Donnelly's up to be the less prepared as we are. So, if I do need to stop telling up before, I apologise. So, first of all, good evening. My name's Mark. I'm Paul's wee brother. It may not look like that, but and I'm the best man. First of all, I've got a very strict message from Lindsay. So, Lindsay wants to thank the talented and creative women in her life who've helped make today as special as it is. So she'd like to thank Laura, Rachel, Amy and her mum Hazel for making the wedding cake, invitations, wedding stationery, flower girl jackets and bridal bouquets. Fucking hell, Paul, did you do it? And the most important thank you is for everyone turning up for my big day. See if you've got anything for me, just leave up at the top table and I'll collect it just at the end of the day, so cheers for that. A couple of little disclaimers just before I get into it. If anyone has any issues with the speech, please direct your complaints to Amy, because she's heard it about 40 times. The most recent one was this morning, but I just walked in a room, lay in her bed, and I said, get that stopwatch start. 8 minutes 50, so see if it goes over. I'm stumbling a bit. And secondly, I'd just like to give a shout out to my mum, because for the duration of this speech, she'll probably have my dad saying, what did he say, Susan? What I said there was... So, Mum, if you missed it, there will be an audio version available on Spotify for anyone who wants to check in. I'll get that right up tomorrow. So, joking aside, I'm very proud to stand here as Paul's best man at Paul and Lindsay's wedding, because they both mean so much to me. It's something I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to do, because I don't think me and Paul seen eye to eye when we grew up, to be fair. First of all, it's a very well-known fact that when my mum was expecting me, surprise. That is in fact my middle name, to be fair, so... Paul was desperate for it to be a girl so he could get the loft conversion all to himself. So we got off to a terrible start straight away. And as I said, we didn't always see eye to eye growing up, because I don't like to take a telling off anyone, and let alone my big brother. So a fine example of this was when I was out the back with my Sunny Delight basketball, bouncing it off the side of the house, and in typical Paul fashion, he's like, "Going to stop that? You're going to damage that rough cast, for fuck's sake." To this day, I couldn't tell you what roughcast is, so you can see that I was very prepped for that. So this continued for a few minutes, and it started a Tom and Jerry chase around the garden, because I was raging and I had a wee bit of a temper on me, because I build up and then I lash out. So I must have been quite scary, because Paul locked himself in the garage. There was a back window with glass. There is now not a black window with glass. So I punched it in, ran out to my dad and said he provoked me. So I would say that a big change, funnily enough, in mine and Paul's relationship was me moving to Australia. I was away for 2 years, and I think that's when he found out how witty and funny I am. And Stuart always lets me know that at family gatherings he was like, "Oh, I just miss him so much." So just despite Paul's masculine kind of demeanour sometimes, he can get in touch with his feminine side. When he was about 12 or 13, and then we got a new hi-fi for Christmas, Billy Piper was blasting at it. He became a very strong member of our fan club. So all this then became before Paul was at very serious neck injury. Don't know if you remember it, Paul. It was a typical rainy day in Logaswell Road. He was skipping down the street with an umbrella, slid on his arse, hurt his neck. In typical Paul fashion, this was the worst neck injury that anyone's ever going to have in their life. So, sorry, my Apple page just been added to my phone, I've just seen that. So Paul, I slid on his arse down there with an umbrella over his, ended up with a neck brace. Nobody heard the last day for ages, and he still twinges to this day. So, and I think that the people that know us both would say that we're very completely different type of people. I'm more of a laid back, let's relax, I've got plenty of time to do that type of guy. Whereas Paul's more of a, see if this isn't done in 5 minutes, I'm going to be raging, and every one of you is going to be raging about me. But this is obviously talking about Paul being so helpful in so many ways, so he can do absolutely everything. I can do hee-haw. So I became I used to get annoyed at it, but now I've become a beneficiary of it for many, I've got a beneficiary of it for many years. So that would be gardening, surveying people's homes, general DIY, cars needing fixed, everything. So I think everyone in our students probably benefited from it at some point. So I'd just like to say thank you, Paul, for all of that. But also, Amy and I have got a bathroom cabinet needing put up, so it's been lying there since February, so that shows you my procrastination skills. It's quite hard to talk about Paul without talking about Lindsay, obviously. So I've played a very key point in this relationship since I've started, so I am the third wheel. Probably not now, but so on to the new Mrs. Donnelly. Can I just say, Lindsay's never hid the fact that she wants to become a Donnelly. In fact, she was a self-proclaimed Donnelly. My mum said it's no it's cat up to me, by the way, so I don't know what you're... Yeah. So there's been a few occasions where it looked like Lindsay wouldn't get the Donnelly name, especially when Lindsay found herself jumping up and down on my mum and dad's couch at their 40th wedding anniversary. She then clattered into the radiator. Paul turned in to me and said, "How did you let that happen?" So obviously I've got that responsibility in this relationship now. Now the night we met Lindsay was more of a courtesy because she was already booked to go on holiday with us about 4 weeks later in Crete. And to be fair to Lindsay, what a performance she put in. Brilliant. because they had a massive argument about 5 minutes before my mum and my dad walked in the house, I think, about living arrangements. Probably about that spare key that you're talking about that she ended up taking. Well done, Mark, you're doing a good job. Keep up. Sorry, that was just a wee message I left myself there. What about that? I'll leave that there. Never mind. Now, I do remember the moment very vividly when Paul told me he was going to ask Lindsay to marry him. It was a dark, rainy day, and it was quite a special day, because I'd just taken the plunge to buy an Apple Watch. It was a purchase that would only be trumped about an hour later. Paul walked into the house as white as Casper, and he just didn't seem right. It didn't seem right. Cheers, Cliff, for that. He then said, I bought a ring. I said, what are you buying a ring for? You don't wear jewellery. And then, obviously, I then understood what was going on. I was like, oh, congratulations, that's brilliant news. When are you going to pop the question? Or the questions a normal person would be asking Paul. But I know Paul. I know there was one thing on his mind. There was one thing on my mind. How much was it? The silence and sickening look on Paul's face was enough, all I needed. But of course, Lindsay is worth every penny. The ring was £2. You know. I told you Amy fact-checked this and she said this was all right. Paul then went on to ask Lindsay the most important question. She said yes, and the planning begun. As much as I was delighted for both of them, I did wonder if my position as the third wheel would be compromised. I was assured of the position and terms were agreed, and we moved on. It was a role I was happy to play, being single at the time. They often look out for me in all aspects of life, and for a consistent period of time, I was over at theirs, having a drink, getting a takeaway, sleeping on their couch, raiding Paul's fridge, getting breakfast in the morning. What more could you want? I felt so loved. Since it was announced that Lindsay was pregnant, though, it became clear that they both wanted to have a child before the wedding, to have Ella Bella as part of this special day. It is now very clear that Lindsay was quite persistent in getting this job done quickly, in which I hear Paul has no issue with either. So Lindsay was, however, so persistent that Paul couldn't keep up with demand and when tried to put a stop to Lindsay's advances. And who did they turn to for help? So here's me thinking that Paul and Lindsay wanted me around at theirs because they enjoy my company so much. When in fact, Paul and the wee man were on their last legs, begging for help and a bit of recovery time. I was used as the delaying technique. Unbelievable, honestly. Now, that probably doesn't help the fact, but me and Lindsay do have a good relationship. But there has been one thing that's put a bit of distance between us over the past year or so. It's something Lindsay just can't get let go of. When Lindsay was pregnant with her lovely Ella Bella, she would often go to bed a bit earlier than she used to. So this left Paul and me up to our own devices and whatever was left in the drinks cupboard. After finishing our beers one night and sharing a lovely bottle of wine, whilst watching the other woman in Paul's life, Danny Menez from A Place in the Sun, it was a good episode, to be fair, because she just got her teeth done and she was wearing a low-cut orange dress. Series 5, Episode 9, they bought a lovely house in Malaga. Paul then stumbled into the kitchen to try and source any alcohol he could get his hands on. He produced 2 beautiful goblets of gin with a large block of ice and thinly sliced cucumber. Thought, get in, I thought this night was coming to an end. Paul then informed me, this is Lindsay's special Isle of Harris gin she's been saving for when Ella's born. She got it when she was working up there. I'm like, fucking hell, Paul. What a bloody spot you've got, isn't it? Paul, of course, but as soon as that refreshing gin hit my lips, I couldn't give a fuck, to be fair, because it was class. We went on to tan quite a bit of the bottle, but as soon as, Paul, of course, then put the blame on to me as he did, because when you've got your pregnant fiancé wakes you up first thing in the morning, seeing the bottle of gin out, half of it's gone, the only thing you're going to do is blame your wee brother. So I then had to face the music and take partial blame for the disappearance of said gin. So Lindsay, since it is a special day, just look under your table. You'll find nothing, 46 quid. funny you're raging. I'm not that much of an arsehole, Lindsay, so... So I think this is a very good moment to make a toast. So if you all raise your glasses and your bottles of gin, we're all very proud of you and thanks for putting on this great day. We love you very much and thanks for everything you do for everybody. We love you very much. So cheers to Paul and Lindsay. Cheers.
Oh, don't you dare look back